Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I really hope you're all doing okay and having a great day and amazing week. My name is Effy. We've moved. I am filming this on Monday during my lunch break from work. I've moved house, we have the new setup. It's obviously not finished, but we are getting there, and I have another testing video for Makeup Revolution. It's not a full face, there are some things that are going to be reused in this video that we've already seen in the week, but there are also a lot of new products. I very quickly had to get all my brushes because they weren't out and set up yet, but they are now. I'm not going to ramble on, I'm just going to get on with this. If you enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. I normally put up 2 videos a week, but this week you have got 6. Monday was a massive Revolution haul, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday are testing videos, and Friday is a review of all the products I bought in the haul, and Saturday is a review of all the other Makeup Revolution products that I already had in my collection. That one was already filmed at my old flat, so today's video and tomorrow's video will be filmed here. I'm still getting used to it, so if things look a bit weird, don't question it. I also now live on a main road, so I'm hoping you can't hear the road too much. We'll see when I edit this video. But anyway, let's just crack on. So let's make a start. I'm going to put on some eye primer. I have already tested this eye primer this week. It is the XX Revolution one, so we're just going to skip over it. I'm going to zoom you in a little bit. I think that might help. Eye primer is on, and the eyeshadow palette we're testing today is this one here. It is the Revolution Forever Flawless Ice. I'm pretty sure this was meant to be a dupe of the Jeffree Star blue palette. I can't remember what it was called, but it looks like this. Obviously I'm doing a blue look. Coincidentally, it matches my jumper. It wasn't on purpose, but let's make a start. This is going to be a pretty simple look because, like I said, this is my lunch break from work. I actually have a meeting after my lunch break, so I need to take all of this off. But let's make a start with, annoyingly, this shade here is a shimmer. I would love to use that, but we won't. I'm actually going to go sort of more teal, so we'll start with this shade up here called Break. That shade's gone on really nicely, really pigmented, patted on really nicely. It doesn't look patchy at all, and I will say, what I have heard about these palettes that come in tins is they're meant to be a little bit better than the standard Revolution ones, or at least that's what I've heard. We'll figure out if that's true or not. And now I'm going to go in with this shade here called Melt. Again, gone on really nicely. It has blended pretty well with the shade underneath, but I do think going back through and re-blending once all my shades are on is going to be needed, which is absolutely fine. I kind of expected that anyway. Now I'm going in with this shade here called Crystal. That shade has taken over a little bit just because of how pale it is, but again, kind of to be expected given the shade is so pale and almost like pastel-y. I do think this look is massively going to benefit from when I go back through and reblend, but for now, the last matte shade I'm going to use is this one up here called Drench. That shade's gone on super nicely as well. I think that's actually a really nice blending out shade. It is a touch more green than the other shades, but that's fine. Like I said, what I'm going to do now is go back through and reblend them. I am going to use slightly fluffier brushes just to get a better blend. That actually helps so much. Nice. I feel like I brought some of the intensity back of those darker colours. I did have to go back and forth between the darker and lighter colours because the lighter colours do take over a little bit, but that's to be expected. And like I said, I just wanted to deepen it up and sort of get that blend going. I do think the blend has worked really nicely now. It looks a lot more blended than it did a few moments ago, which we like to see. And now for a shimmer, I'm going in with the silver called Glacier. And I'm not going to cut the crease or anything like that, we'll just go straight in with it. That shimmer's gone on really nicely. I do have a very, very small issue with it. It has stuck really, really nicely to the parts of my eyelid that didn't already have eyeshadow on them. So it's sticking directly to the base really nicely. It's not sticking as nicely on top of eyeshadows, which is fine. However, the shade itself doesn't have a ton of pigment to it. It's a very sort of like sparse, glittery sort of effect, which I love. However, I love to layer those on top of matte shades, and if it doesn't sit nicely on top of matte shades, that is a bit more problematic. I have managed to get it to work, and I reckon if you were to wet the shade with a setting spray, that would help as well. but just something worth noting. But overall, I'm not mad at this eye look at all. What I'm going to do now is go off camera and catch up the other eye. I do have an eyeliner that I'm going to test, but I'm going to do my eyeliner later. So yeah, I will go and catch up the other eye, and I'll see you in a moment when they're a bit more even. I'm back, eyes are looking a little bit more even. We'll quickly do thoughts on the palette before we move on to base. I actually quite like it. I think the colour scheme is quite nice. I do have another blue palette from Revolution that I think could do with a few more blues in it. I don't have the same thoughts about this. I do think that if this shade were a matte, I would be happier, and also if this white was a matte shade, I would be happier. But I do think it's quite nice. I like that there's quite a bit of variety of blues. Like, I've used more of the teal shades, but there are some more like pure blues. The shimmers don't excite me too much. The silver and this sort of like bronzy shade interest me, the rest of them don't. I like the look. Obviously a blue palette isn't going to be my everyday, but I actually think this is quite nice. As for the formula being better than their regular palettes, potentially. I feel like the best formulas they use are in their collaboration palettes with influencers, and then maybe this, and then maybe their regular ones. Because this did work really well. There's nice pigment, nice blending. I'm a fan. Now let's move on to base. So we have another Relove by Revolution primer. This is the Pore Vanish primer. And I do have another primer that I'm going to pair with this. This sort of comes out as a clear gel. This does have a scent to it. I'm not 100% sure what it is. It almost smells like kids' yogurts. But I don't mind it, and it's not very strong. Like, I can't smell it on my face. It's only when I smell my hands can I actually smell it. And the other primer I'm going to use is the Makeup Revolution primer, because I unboxed everything and threw away the packaging, but it's like the Balm primer or something like that. I thought this was going to be similar to like the e.l.f. putty primer, but I don't think it is. I'm just going to put it on my more porous areas. It's not as thick as the e.l.f. one. It doesn't really have a scent. I thought the packaging would be bigger. There is not a lot of product in here at all. There's 12 grams. This isn't a lot. 0.42 ounces. Yeah, not a lot of product in there, but realistically I've barely made a dent in it. I've used the tiniest amount, and I feel like I've used enough. It spread out quite nicely. It's melted into my skin quite nicely. Let me have a look. I don't think it has a scent. If it does, it's very, very, very faint. It has definitely given me that sort of like pore filling feel to my skin, like my skin feels a little bit silicone-y, which is fine. Now for foundation, I have a tester. This is a tester of the Silk, whatever it's called, Silk Finish something. I don't actually know how to use this, because I don't know how to get it out of the packaging without it going absolutely everywhere. I'm not going to put a brush or my sponge in there. I'm just going to take it off my fingers, which we all know I hate doing. Blend it all out with a sponge. I've not used a lot of it, so I am actually going to go in with a tiny bit more just to see if it can sort of cover the redness on my cheeks a bit better. Okay. This is the shade F2, which is the shade I normally go for in foundations, but to me it looks a little bit darker than F2. I'm not too sure. It doesn't offer a lot of coverage at all. It is definitely a skin tint. However, I find some skin tints work well for most people. Some skin tints only really work well if you've already got really good skin. I don't have really good skin, particularly at the moment. I'm like breaking out all over the place. I blame the stress of moving, hopefully, so that means they should go now that I'm moved. Yeah, I think it looks quite nice. I'll see how it looks with all my other products on top of it. But yeah, I think it's quite nice. It does look nice on the skin. I just don't know if this has enough coverage for me. And personally, I don't even care about having tons of coverage every day. But this is exceptionally low coverage. Now for cream blush, we do have one to test. This is the Blush Balm in the shade Peach Filter. Now, I've seen kind of everywhere that these aren't that pigmented. They come on like a little doe foot, and honestly, it looks like a lip gloss. So we'll see how it goes. I'm just going to dot quite a bit, to be honest. Trusty brush and blend it out. Oh, I haven't done my concealer. I'll do that in a moment. That's actually really nice. I will say, the amount that I put on, I wouldn't normally go in with that much when I'm testing a cream blush for the first time. I did go in quite heavily, and if I hadn't heard that this was not that pigmented, I would not have used that much, but I think I used kind of the right amount. I'm going to do the same on this cheek. See, that's way more than I would use of like my Made by Mitchell blush, but it seems to be just the right amount. I actually really like that. I think I used more than I would normally use of a cream blush, but I like the colour. It blends out so easily. It's a really nice thin formula. It looks nice. I kind of wish I had a more full coverage base on to test this on, because I think it would look better on a more full coverage base, personally. But I don't mind it. I think it looks really nice. I was expecting not a lot, and it exceeded those expectations, so I do like it. Now I'll go with concealer. This isn't actually a testing. I have had this concealer before. It is the Conceal and Hydrate in the shade C1. I'm just going to slap it on, and then I'll give you my opinion on it at the end, because like I said, I've used it before. I already know that I quite like it. There we go. I did also just powder down, because I'm using the same powder that I've used for the past 2 days, because I only bought one. So powder down. The concealer, I do like it. This is a repurchase. I've had this before in my collection. It's a super thin, lightweight formula. For under the eyes, it's beautiful. It has decent coverage. It spreads out really nicely. I only used a small amount, and I ended up having to go back in with my blush brush because I'd taken over the blush a little bit. But it is really nice. It's super lightweight. It has good enough coverage. It's not the highest coverage you can get, not even from Makeup Revolution. But I feel like for me, on the everyday, it offers enough coverage, but while still having that thin formula under my eyes, which I prefer. I did also just take a little bit under here to try and give myself a little bit of extra coverage. It hasn't done loads. It's probably a bit too pale, but yes, I am happy with it. I think my face looks quite alright, actually. I think this combination looks pretty good. Like the powder, foundation, primers. Don't know why that was so difficult, but yeah, I actually think the combination looks pretty good. Again, my forehead does look a little bit dry, and now I am starting to question whether or not it's the powder, because I didn't have much of an issue on Tuesday, but then I had a pretty big issue in yesterday's video. But overall, I would leave the house like this. Yesterday's was a lot worse, so I'm okay with this. Now, I do have a powder blush to test. This is the XX Revolution in the shade Entice. They don't put the names of the products actually on the packaging, and I got rid of all the boxes. I'm so excited to try this. I've wanted these blushes, and I actually bought another one, but I haven't tested it. I've wanted these blushes for a long time, so let's put this on my face. That is more pigmented than I was expecting it to be. It sort of brought the blush a bit more pink as opposed to like apricot-y. I do quite like it. I think it would be really good for the everyday. It is the sort of tone that I like and enjoy using on the everyday. It went on really nicely, no issues there. Bit pigmented, and I should have gone in with a lighter hand, but other than that, it's pretty good. Now we have a bronzer to test, which I'm actually quite scared of. This is the iHeart Revolution Coffee Bronzer in Latte, which I thought was their lightest shade, but it looks like this. That's quite dark, and it kind of scares me. So I'm going to go in with the lightest possible hand I can and hope for the best. I went in with the lightest possible hand. I know it looks quite aggressive the way I do my bronzer, but I am only using the smallest amount of pressure. It is dark, and I don't think the undertone is even the right undertone for me, if I'm being honest. I don't think it looks terrible. I think overall I have a lot of colour on my face at the moment, and that might be throwing me off a little bit. But overall, I don't hate it. I would use that again. I think my expectations for it were pretty low, so with it being better than I thought it would be, that's a win in my opinion. Now I have quite a few steps to skip, so I don't have a new brow product to test and I don't have a new highlighter to test. So what I'm going to do is go off camera, run the exact same matte shades along my lower lash line because I'm boring like that, put on a highlighter. The highlighter I'm going to use is going to be this one that I tested in yesterday's video, the Bronze Baddie. The brow product I'm going to use is going to be the Revolution Brow Pomade in medium brown, which I tested in yesterday's video as well. And then we'll come back and do some more stuff, okay? I'll see you in a moment. Honestly, I can't even tell you what went wrong with my eyebrows. They are not, this one particularly is not eyebrowing today, so we're just going to keep it at an angle. Before I move on to mascara and eyeliner, I do have a setting spray to test. This is the Relove by Revolution Super Matte Fix. I did test a different one the other day, but we're going to test this one. Give it a good shake. Don't spray it on your face first. That's actually quite nice. The mist is actually quite nice. It's quite fine. However, the pump, you do have to give it a good press. It's not easy to use. I mean, it is, but it's not. While it's drying, I'm going to talk about a product that I was meant to use today, but I'm not going to. This is the Revolution Streamline Eyeliner in Silver. I tested the yellow one in Tuesday's video. However, when I unwrapped this one, I pulled the lid off at an awkward angle and it pulled off the tip. And I can sharpen this. They are sharpenable. However, I don't know where my sharpener is at the moment. If you could see this room, you'd understand why I have no idea where my sharpener is. So I can't test this. However, the yellow one that I tested on Tuesday I absolutely loved and I did really like it. So I imagine this will be the same. You'll probably see it in a future video, so don't worry. Now for liquid eyeliner, I have the Revolution Liner Pow in black. I did pick up some other eyeliners, but I have tested those before. I assume I'm meant to shake this first. So yeah, I will talk about them in tomorrow's video, but I'm not going to test them because I've already tested it, if that makes sense. Okay, it's still white. And yeah, it doesn't draw. Oh, am I meant to? Am I meant to do that? Now do I shake it? Okay, yeah, it's still white. How does this work? Well, it looks like an actual pen. Okay, if I can't get this to work soon, I'm gonna give up and not do eyeliner. Okay, yeah, I'm going to give up and not do eyeliner. I'll try and figure that out and talk about it in tomorrow's video. Now we have a mascara. This is the Revolution Extreme Lash Volumizing Mascara. I don't think I bought this in the haul. I think this came in like a glossy box or an advent calendar or something like that. So let's pop this on. I actually quite like that mascara. I prefer it over the ones that I tested yesterday and the day before. It has a plastic bristle brush. The bristles are quite short and it is quite difficult to get it close to your lash line to like wiggle it without it being a little bit painful, but that doesn't really bother me. I'd go through a little bit of pain to have lashes like this. They're not perfect lashes, but I am getting a lot of length, separation. I wouldn't say volume. Like my lashes don't look that thick. They sort of look separated and like I have quite a lot of them. Yeah, which is what I look for in a mascara, but I wouldn't pick up a volumizing mascara expecting that. But I do actually quite like it. I think it looks really nice. This could be a good everyday mascara because it doesn't make your lashes look too unnatural or anything like that. I actually thumbs up, like it. Now finally, lipstick. This is one of their new ones. I can't remember what it's called, but it's in the shade Divine Brown, if that helps. And oh, it's got a little R on it for Revolution. You cannot see that, but it's got a little R on it for Revolution. It is just a neutrally brown. I do not have a lip liner. I'm not going to put one on. Let's give this a test. Ooh. It doesn't smell of anything. I love that. The shade is maybe slightly off. I would prefer it if it was like a touch cooler. But the formula is beautiful. It glides on. I was expecting it to be super matte and almost like a bit more difficult to work with. But it glides onto the lip super easily. And also, I know I said I wish the colour was a touch cooler. I think if this had like a darker lip liner, I would absolutely love it and be fine with it. Oh, my lashes are sticking together a little bit. Okay. As for the shape, it's sort of like a square shape, and I can't decide if I like it or not. Because it has that straight edge, it's really easy to get like a straight line along like the parts of your lips that have relatively straight lines. However, it is also, because of the shape, it's quite difficult to get into the corners and to sort of like shape out your cupid's bow area. And I've definitely not done a straight line along the bottom, but I really quite like that. I would pick this up in other shades. Quite happily, I'd pick that up in other shades. I really do like it. And like I said, a darker lip liner, problem solved for me, personally. My lashes are really sticking together, I don't know why. Probably the mascara. There we go. That is a full face, almost, of another set of Makeup Revolution products. I'm not going to run through everything because I've already done that. Yeah, there we go. Sorry this video might have been a bit rushed. Like I said, I am filming this in my lunch break from work, so that's just how it is sometimes. Let me know what you think of the setup. Let me know what you think of the lighting. Let me know if you can hear the cars. Let me know anything you think about this new setup. I'm happy to sort of change things about a little bit. Let me know what you think of the makeup look as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. I normally put up 2 videos a week, but this week you are getting 6, you lucky people, because we are doing Revolution Week. If you have any other ideas for any themed weeks I can do this year, then please do just let me know. But other than that, I'll let you go. Have a great day and an amazing week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!